as you can see. These are pictures by a chap called Robert Knox, an Englishman who was captive in the Canadian Kingdom in the 16th century, and he has written a book once he got back, escaped and got back to England, and these are pictures that depict some of the stories he has to tell. Getting to estimated elephant populations, over the years we have had what people think were declining populations, but really most of these were guesstimates and not necessarily based on any realistic survey or counting of elephants. At the turn of the last century, on the turn of the 20th century, the estimated number was 12,000 elephants, and it goes on from different people. And you will see that I also have given an estimate. Again, it's an estimate, it's an interpolation of certain numbers that we have found in certain places, and that's the closest that we can come. And actually, even now, after surveys done by the Department of Agriculture subsequent to these, the figure is about 5,500 elephants. Elephants, every year we see a number of babies coming out with their mothers out of the jungles and into places where they drink water, etc. And the babies, which are less than 1 year old, can go under the mother's belly. So the number of those elephants, but we don't know whether they grow to maturity. We don't know whether, there's no survey, no research, nothing done that can prove to us that these babies that we see year in, year out grow up to become adults. When they go to about 5 or 6 years, they also have to compete for food with ungulates like the deer and sambar, who eat the same food at the same level. So there is also a chance that they miss out and do not make it to adulthood. The Portuguese ruled the country from 1505 to 1658. They ruled only the maritime provinces. The Canadian kings held the central part of the country and the hills and the island. The rest of the island, including the Canadian kingdom, was held by the Sinhala kings. During this period, the Portuguese brought to Sri Lanka the method of carrying out kraals or kedas, as they popular thing. They were fortified areas into which elephants were driven. The gates were closed, and elephants that you see in the bottom picture were used to tame these elephants. It took them about 3 to 6 months to tame a wild elephant if it was young enough. If it was older, it was more difficult and more stubborn. Then the Portuguese started what was called the elephant hunt. It was a department. The department was solely concerned with capturing elephants and exporting them, and it was a revenue gathering department. The Portuguese introduced, as I said, the kraal method. This had its advantages in that you could capture a large number of elephants at once, whereas earlier with the noosing and roping and pit method, you could only capture one elephant at a time, and that took a long. Sometimes when they fell into pit, they broke their leg or something, and that elephant was also not worth. But by the kraal method, elephants are large number are taken and tamed, and it's worth the effort. Thousands of men. Literally thousands of men are engaged in making these fortresses. These are pictures of the elephant. I keep losing this. That's the elephants inside a kraal after driven. This is again a kraal, and these are the beaters, the people who drive the elephants from far off into this enclosure, and the gate is closed. Royalty, princes, kings all watch this spectacular performance from special seats that they have been given. This is how much fortification is necessary to make a strong stockade so that the elephants, together, individually or as a group, cannot charge and break it down. Elephants ready for export. This fellow is on his way. That was both the Dutch and the Portuguese used elephants for export, whereas the Sinhalese kings gave gifts to potentates and kings in other countries. But these fellows were taken to Europe for circuses or whatever they were. A big demand for the Sri Lankan elephant. The Dutch continued the elephant hunt. In fact, they expanded this because it was a very lucrative or very made a lot of money. That government operated from 1640 to 1796 again only in the maritime provinces, and they managed to take off a whole lot of elephants from the country. Both the Dutch and the Portuguese who ruled the maritime provinces of the country for 300 years. Then the Brits came. They closed down the elephant hunt because they didn't want money. They had money, and they were taking our spices and peacocks and everything, so that they had money from that source and they couldn't be bothered with this. Whereas on the other hand, they loved what they called sport. Sport was to kill an elephant. I don't think it's really sport, but that's what they called it. And they stopped, they closed down the elephant hunt, the department that took elephants for export, and they allowed anybody to shoot elephants for sport. They also paid people who shot elephants in the defense of agricultural properties or agricultural cultivations, and they paid money to them, so that the shooting of the elephants for sport and for agricultural purposes took a large toll on the elephant populations in the country. And there was a chap in the army called Major Thomas Rogers. He shot over 1,500 elephants, and his plea was that he was collecting money from this, which the government gave for shooting an elephant, to buy his commission in the army. So if you kill so many elephants, you get so much, and then you can buy your commission. Somewhat like a bribery in our country. In my country, I'm not talking India. But there were also other Major Skinner and Galway, who are also British civil servants, who are reputed to have shot over 750 elephants. One thing was, when the elephant hunt was carried out by the Portuguese and the Dutch, they chose the best elephants, and as a result, the quality of the elephants also reduced. A lot of Tuskers were taken, and the Tusker gene is lost, I think, because now if you look at South India, the Tuskers, they are about 95 to 98%. Am I right? Whereas in Sri Lanka, it's only 7% of the males that have tusks. So we are just 22 miles across the Pork Straits, and there is a large difference. So a large number of Tuskers have been extracted from Sri Lanka, thereby depleting the population of Tuskers. As you all know, the males only in the Asian elephant and has tusks. The females and males of both males and females of the African species also have tusks. Yeah. These are pictures of the British rule. They love to do this. Look at that. They shot an elephant, killed the poor beast, and he's sitting and enjoying a shot of whiskey. Again. This is a picture that is more, that's just a picture of our former president, who is in the middle there, Jayantha Jayewardene, who incidentally has the same name as I, but no relation, with President Reagan giving a baby elephant on the White House lawn. I like the pictures right. The causes of human-elephant conflicts: loss of habitats. Sri Lanka is an island with limited land. It has even limited forests. We have 22% only of forests, and that is also diminishing. They are changing land use patterns, and more cultivations are done on a permanent basis, whereas those days they had what they call chaina cultivations, where the villagers cleared the jungle, cultivated there, and came away when they harvested the crop. And the elephants came and ate the stubble and the regrowth in those areas. That pattern has changed, making it more difficult for elephants to find food. The changing of living patterns, as I said, the symbiotic relationship where the farmers cultivate and go away with the harvest, the elephant comes and eats the stubble and the regrowth, and next season when the rains come again, the farmers come back, the elephants go back to the jungle habitats, which have now regrown food for them. Elephants are believed to be the vehicle of God summoned before they considered it sacred. Now with HCC, that sanctity has got lost, but still I did 2 surveys all over the island where human-elephant conflicts were prevalent and in all over the country. And in every instance, I used to ask them, okay, now the elephants are giving you a problem, they are giving you a hard time, they were damaging your crops, they are breaking your houses, sometimes they kill people. Shall you shoot the elephants? No, no, no. They did not want the elephant shot because of that old time relationship with the elephant. They only wanted the elephants moved out of their area so the elephants couldn't damage their livelihood. We had a symbiotic relationship, as I said earlier, with elephants, and now that is diminishing because of the increasing intensity of human-elephant conflicts. We have a large number of development projects which are again necessary for land. This picture is a part of the northern part of the Vilpattu National Park, which has now been cleared and taken for housing for people, because the politician who's very powerful was alone, and the government cannot do anything to it. These are all land use things. One is clearing of extensive areas of secondary forests and the scrub habitat of elephants. Lots of land for people doing chaina cultivation, as I mean, now they are not allowed to go and cultivate in the jungle as they did earlier, and as a result they lose their advantage of having that area for cultivation. The loss of significant biodiversity, I didn't tell you that the elephant is an umbrella species, and if the elephant and its habitat is conserved, all other creatures going down to the worm and the cockroach is conserved in that area. So the elephant is necessary because it is an umbrella species that lives in a habitat that helps to conserve many other species of birds and mammals and insects and invertebrates. Elephants are also being eliminated from these areas that are being cleared. They are driven away, and as a result those areas are devoid of elephants. Elephants going to other areas where there isn't enough food to share with the existing elephants that live there, and as a result they have dire circumstances to tend for. These are also these are a list of the development plans. A country must have development plans because the population is increasing. We have 20 million people, 5,000 elephants, and the government has to hit a happy medium, but that is not happening because, to be quite frank, the government is really not interested in elephants because unlike humans can vote, elephants can't vote, elephants don't have a voice. So anything that is advantageous to humans is what the government tends to adopt, and these are the list of 15,000 acre industrial estate, promotion of rubber cultivation in a new district where there are elephants, promotion of sugarcane cultivation in another district in the north central province, again where there are elephants. More than 65 irrigation projects planned for promotion of paddy cultivation. So that paddy cultivation will necessitate the clearing of jungle habitats of the elephant. Making mini-area stock tank. You see, mini-area is a large tank which has where the water recedes every year because of the drought, and there's no replenishment till the rains come. Large numbers of elephants, sometimes 300-400 elephants come to that tank, and they eat the grass. We had this misconception that they were coming to drink water. It was not that. It was the re-emerging grass that the elephants were interested in and grazing, and as a result they used to come in large numbers to this during the drought. Now they are going to stock the tank always for 3 cultivations, which means that grass that was available to the elephants is also gone. So it's not a rosy picture. It's a very difficult picture because the government is not focusing properly on what needs to be focused on. 2 days ago I listened to, I think, your Minister of Roads and Minister who were talking in a much more positive manner, that they were willing to accept the realities of human-elephant conflict and the need for elephant conservation amidst development. That was heartening to listen to them that day. I wish they would come and speak to our politicians who haven't a clue. We have a Minister of Wildlife who was a field marshal during the last problem we had with the Tamil tigers, and he won the war for us. Now he's going to win the war for us from the elephants, whom he considers also the enemy. He's going to drive them into the national parks put a fence round, and they become like prisoners of war. Now these parks already have elephants. 70% of the elephant population, wild elephant population in the country, live outside the national parks. Now you put those 70 fellows in, nobody has the food. The 25% that are living there will be short of food. The 50%, the 70% that comes in also will not have food. So I think we should put the field marshal also into that. But I do a government job and I can't be too critical. But anyway, this has to be said because that's the reality. And now, last Saturday before I left, a whole group of conservationists, Prutu Fernando and Devaka and Sumit Pilapiti, our leading conservationists, we met to find out, to make plans how to counter this marauding, not elephants, marauding field marshal. So we have various plans. First we thought of as an awareness program, make the whole country aware of what the consequences of this magnificent plan would be. And so we are in the process of countering this. But sometimes when you are at the other end of the gun, you lose. This is an old-time thing which the practice which doesn't happen now, where in the night a farmer tends his fields and he's up a tree so that he doesn't get damaged. Elephants can't come and destroy him. This is an elephant that is on its way to the fields which are through this jungle. These are the crops that they grow other than paddy. There are chilies, cowpea, beans, groundnuts, beans, chilies, maize, sorghum, bananas. Those are the other field crops that the farmers have, which the elephants damage. And also when an elephant or elephants get into a paddy field, they don't eat the paddy just around them and go. They walk all over, thereby destroying a whole area of cultivation which is not, which the elephants don't come back and eat, and which is useless to the farmer. So this conflict gets worse and worse as a result of the farmer losing his potential income because of the elephant's carelessness. To the elephant, of course, food like this is like going to a supermarket. It's all there. He didn't have to walk the 16 miles he used to do in the jungle those days. Now has it all sort of brought home delivery. This is an elephant has done a recce of what is to come. There's a paddy field in the back. He has come and had a look, and he says, okay, wait, I'll come back later when you're grown. This is the damage that they do. This is an 80-year-old coconut tree. Many coconut trees after a long time are damaged, and as a result the farmers lose whatever capital they have invested in, whatever potential they have in terms of earning money. These houses are damaged, all due to human-elephant conflict. This is a growing problem in Sri Lanka, where garbage is dumped and elephants come. And the mitigating story, of course, is that no elephant has died of getting polythene stuck in his system. But the fact is that it's a terrible sight to see, and it is a growing thing. The garbage is just thrown and the elephants come. This group, especially this photograph taken by me, when I stopped in the garbage pit, there was nothing. There were no elephants. There was only garbage. We looked. A little while later, we heard the tractor from the army camp coming with garbage. The elephants all came out. So did the dogs. Dogs are not shown. There are some dogs. The dogs and all emerge. So they wait for that. Then the elephant comes close to the tractor. The little boy who is going to dump the garbage, he pats the elephant and chases him off. These are wild elephants who are eating this, and now they are all tame. That's just a picture of that. We are trying to get a symbiotic relationship between humans and elephants living together. But in the meantime, we have got a lot of work to do in terms of research, and we also used translocation to take elephants from one area to another. Troublesome elephants who have killed people to another area. That's only change in the headache, change in the pillow to cure headache. The elephant causes trouble at the other end as well. So it's not really a solution, but it appeases the people in the area where the elephant did the damage initially. So that's a political thing. Elephant drives. We started off in a place called Mattal in the southern province. There were 150 elephants. They drove 150 elephants. When they got to the Lulangayam National Park, which is about 60 miles away, it took 3 months. The drive took 3 months. There were 250 elephants. Now there are 400 elephants back where they were. So What has happened is the elephants that were living peacefully in small patches of jungle have also been collected. Now this daily chasing of elephants, lighting firecrackers, shooting in the air, have made the elephants much more bold. That boldness makes the elephants aggressive. Earlier elephants that used to move away when there were humans or vehicles coming are now charging vehicles, charging humans, and they are much more aggressive. So the only good that this drive has done is to make the elephants come together and to be much more aggressive. And no solution. There's an electric fence, two electric fence, and this you can see the elephant who has more brains than some of the people in our Department of Wildlife have. He's put a log there and he pushed the thing. Current goes, the wire breaks, and the elephant has free access. It only took him a little trouble to find a log. This is just a nice picture of the clergy who are also interested in elephant conservation but do not really have a voice in the political game of making decisions where elephant conservation is concerned. This is how it is at the moment. The DWC means the Department of Wildlife Conservation. That's 25%. 75% of the elephants are in FD, which is the Forest Department jungles which border the human habitations. We are now trying to move this electric fence. This is again the wisdom of the Department of Wildlife Conservation. They put a fence, elephants on this side, elephants on that side. So both lots of elephants starve because there is not enough food on either side. I'm not being critical, no, I'm not being funny, but I'm just I'm telling you the truth. This is what we are hoping to do, where we move the fence so that the elephants in the Forest Department areas and the Department of Wildlife can live together under protected conditions and also give minimal problems to the humans who live adjacent to these elephant culture. This is what I'm talking about. Elephants quite happily were living with humans who are in the distance, as you can see their houses and dwelling places. We have two orphanages, if you can call it that. One is the elephant transit home, where baby elephants whose mothers have been killed or who have suddenly found themselves isolated are brought, taken into groups, put together with a very minimal human activity with them. They don't the humans don't get involved with them at all, except the keepers feed them at milking time, and they are released in groups back to they form a group of their own in that thing. Then when they are of correct age, they are translocated back to the jungles. We have had 9 groups with about 90 elephants relocated. Most of them have integrated. 2 of them have had babies. So it is fairly successful relocating them, but it has to be looked at because they are relocating them into the same national park. They have to be moved out to other parks as well. This feeding time is the only time they have any interaction with humans. This is the Pignoli Elephant Orphanage, where elephants had been brought some time ago, and humans have looked after them, touched them, bathed them, fed them milk and all, and now they cannot be sent back to the jungle, because at the moment there is any sort of stress or crisis, the elephants, because they are friendly with humans, will come back and it will not be worthwhile departing. So the 80 elephants in this Pignoli National Park, which is a nice sight to see. If you are ever in Sri Lanka, that's one place you must visit, apart from the wildlife national parks. This is a dwarf elephant. Little fellow is very aggressive. He charges anything that he sees, anything that moves, and he emerged now. He is about 20 years old. He emerged only about 2 or 3 years ago. This is a white elephant, which has now grown, and she's a mother now. But she's in the jungle and it's very difficult to photograph her. This is some fellow we found about 2 months ago, and I don't know what, it has no future as far as I can see. It is fed, it is lame, it can't move its front legs, and we have to keep it alive, we can't euthanize it. But see this back, the rib, the spine has been affected by its having to walk in that odd manner. That's the back of an elephant. Very soon you will see the back of me. I have finished. Thank you very much.
Very interesting presentation. I liked your humor at the end. The rump of the elephant is very big, your rump is very small. Anyhow, a lot of allegations about treatment of elephants in Kerala, and temple elephants. What about elephants in Sri Lanka?
Well, I must say,
temple elephants are treated well.
Temple elephants are treated well. In Sri Lanka, the practice is for the temple not to keep the elephants they are given or they own. They are given to people who have some land or something who can look after them. They are like the dayakayas, the custodians, the trustees of the temple are given the elephants to look after. Like that lady I showed you. So they look after them because they have the wherewithal to give them food and treatment and pay them out and all. So they are treated well. The elephants that are in the orphanage at Pignoli and the transit home are also looked after very well. They are under supervision. There are a lot of us who are part of the administration of them. Next time I'll try to do something about my rump.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jayewardene. It was very, very informative. I am keen that we learn from Sri Lanka the aspect of tusklessness, the Makna syndrome. Being an island, you had obviously the deficiencies of an island situation, what I call island attenuation, and there were fewer tusked elephants even in the past. But it was not the case, as the studies go, as when Kandy was captured by the British, the amount of stock of ivory that was found is phenomenal, as you know. Elephants were shot during the British regime because the tuskers were preferred. Probably the tuskers were also exported. So initially there were probably fewer tuskers, and then they got even lesser because of the export, hunting, whatever. The question now is twofold. One, this hunting has stopped, and I suppose the capture is stopped. Over the years, what is the trend? Or is it improving the percentage of tusked males, or is it deteriorating? I mean, over the last 50 years, you've not had any capture or whatever. If it is not improving, then what is the reason? Is it because the Maknas are continuously breeding and passing on the trait? Or why is this not happening? My personal experience, I first went 45 years ago, and I could see some males in Yala, Vilpatu, in the Mahaveli Ganga, Galoya. I went again last year. I saw not a single male. Is it getting worse? Is it getting better? Or is it the same? One. Secondly, Mr. This Hera, you always see these tusked males. Are they still being caught for the tusked males, still being caught for the festival? Or is it specially because I saw them still in Kandy, there were tusked males there? So are they being selected and given to the sacred temple relic? Or what is happening? Why are they still tuskers still available in captivity for the religious shrine and not in the wild? Thank you.
So to answer the second question first, because that's easier. The question of tuskers is traditional to have tuskers in the Perahera. There are Maknas as well, but the tuskers are the ones who take the relics and go around the streets. We have got gifts from Thailand, from Myanmar, and even Madam Indira Gandhi gave us a tusker, 2 tuskers really, over 2 different times. So those elephants are the tuskers that parade the streets with the tooth relic. That's the second question. The first question is, the number of tuskers seems to be the same. There is no reduction in the number. There is no, because some people, when they do research, they find so many tuskers amongst a group of so much that they have counted, and that's between 5 and 7%. There's also another interesting theory, sir, that the tusker gene is carried by a female. So vets here may know there is a theory that has been expounded. Ajay, you may know, you are not paying attention.
We do find Makna being born to Tusker, and meeting with Tusker, we sometimes find Makna being born, and sometimes we find that Makna makes and Tusker.
So yes. So is that theory also for the reduction in Tuskers?
So thanks for this excellent presentation. Really inspiring, sir. Just wanted to have an update. Few months back there was a discussion of moving 2 elephants from the wet zone in Sinhajara area to some captive center. It was almost about to be moved when your Honorable President stepped in and stopped at the last moment. So what is the current fate of those 2 elephants?
So what pops up is the field marshal. We have a wildlife heritage trust, wildlife heritage site called Singharaja Primeval Forest, where there were, when I first started elephant studies, there were 15. Now they are down to two aggressive fellows. But they rarely come out of the jungle. They are quite happy there. Field marshal came. Now he's going to solve the problem. He thought 2 prisoners of war here. He wants to capture them from a highland down to a low. They objected. Then we had to get to he had to get the services of these are funny stories. He had to get the services of the Navy vets because the department vets refused to do anything with that. The Navy, we had to speak to the Navy commander, ask him to order his vets not to get involved in this elephant activity. So we stopped that. And now he has put that away because he's looking at all the elephants in the country. So they are still there. And fortunately, the president of the country had the ability to stop that transfer, and they are still there. But for how long, I don't know. No more questions?
Give a big hand for Mr. Jayewardene.
Thank you.